but it's in Chicago, Monday Night Football. Weather conditions might not be the best, and then you have the monkey on Tony Romo's back, the 11-5 December record that he has. For whatever reason, he played great in September, great in October, very good in November, and then December comes and he hits a wall. So looking at this matchup, it should be a good matchup. Two pretty good teams. Cowboys fighting for the division with the Eagles. The Bears fighting for the division with the Lions and, for now, the Packers. So looking at this game, should be a good matchup. I think Tony Romo finally has a good December performance that he hasn't had in a while, and I think the Cowboys end up winning it off of the legs of DeMarco Murray. So Cowboys will win this one.
And I'm going to add a few things here. I totally agree with your last point. DeMarco Murray, having to be able to establish him. You know, I know they had lost the running back last week, so they're going to have potentially the backup running back position in Dallas is not going to be as solidified as it had been in the past. But Murray's the workhorse anyway. He's going to have some opportunities against this Bears defense that is ranked 32nd against the run. And so I see the opportunity there. And ever since, and I even would say this before if I would have had a chance before we got on the Cowboys site, the one thing that I think the Cowboys really need to get to and do more of is play action. Tony Romo is a good quarterback. And we've talked about it many times, Evan. A quarterback that has a legitimate play action threat is going to be more successful. And they got
Jason Witten on that team too.
Exactly. And so the nice thing is you look at the Bears defense, if they can establish that run, get some play action going, hit Witten in the seam, maybe get Brian out of this double coverage that he's been in for the last couple of weeks. He still seems to make catches, though, so the guy's a good weapon. But I think the key is they have to establish Murray. Now, the nice thing on defense, I know they're the 32nd ranked defense in the NFL, the Cowboys are. 31st against the pass, 27th against the rush. But the neat thing is they get Sean Lee back this week. That should help tremendously to have.
Do they?
Yeah, that's the report that I had read today. I'm not sure if it's 100%, but there's a possibility he may be back this week. That would be huge for them. But even if it's not, Cutler's out again.
Very huge.
Cutler's out again. Lance Briggs is also out again. And I think that will be enough for the Cowboys to create some turnovers. You know, even though their defense is ranked 32nd, they do create turnovers. And you and I talked about it. You know, when you can create turnovers, you can give yourself a shorter field. You can do some things. But I really believe that Murray is going to be the difference in this game. I think the Cowboys win also, Evan. So I'm on the same page with you there. I think it should be.
Hey, we agree.
Yeah, we agree. I mean, and that's normally 75% of the time. So we agree on that one. So let's keep it right in the NFC North against the NFC East. Lions at Eagles. Take it away on that one, bud.
Well, both teams sit at 7-5. Eagles tied for first place in their division with the Cowboys. The Lions are a game ahead of the Bears and a game and a half ahead of our Green Bay Packers. And this, you look at on paper, the Lions have the second-ranked offense in the NFL. They average 27.2 points per game. The Eagles have the third-ranked offense in the NFL. They average exactly 25 points a game, which kind of surprised me because they're one of only a handful of teams that don't have the decimal on there. And then defensively, the Lions ranked 15th overall, but they are third against the run, 26th against the pass. So they're very vulnerable against being thrown on. And the Eagles are 31st ranked defense in the NFL, but they're 17th in scoring and points allowed. They allow 23.4 points per game. Now, this has another making of a shootout between these two teams. You know, Chip Kelly runs his up-tempo offense, wants to get the ball into McCoy's hands, do a lot of the zone read stuff, play action, and look up top to Riley Cooper, look up top to Deshaun Jackson. And we all know from watching the Lions quite frequently being an NFC North opponent, the Lions' passing defense, as I said, is ranked 26th in the league, is not very good. If they're able to protect their quarterback, Nick Foles, and he gets time to go up top with it, then he's going to get a lot of one-on-one coverage on the outside because the Lions are going to have to bring a safety down into the box to monitor that zone read stuff. So a lot of one-on-one coverage at the outside. I see the Eagles staying hot. I see the Eagles putting up a lot of points, and I see the Eagles winning this game.
Couple of things that I want to touch on, and the one was you talked about the Eagles' 31st ranked defense, yards allowed, correct?
Yep.
And points allowed, though, 17. And as I had done my research, I'm looking at the same numbers you are. The reason why there's such a discrepancy in yardage and the points is they are tied for 6th in interceptions. They can create the turnover. And when I look at this game, I did a little bit more digging into the quarterbacks. Foles, believe it or not, Evan, 19 touchdowns to start the year without an interception.
Nice. What does Brett Jr. have?
Stafford has thrown 10 interceptions in the last 5 games. Now, a Packer defense that only had, I think, 3 interceptions coming into the Lions game, created turnovers, or 4 interceptions. I think they got 2 against Stafford.
Well, yeah, they had 4 interceptions going into the game against Detroit, and then they got 2 in the game.
They got 2 in the game.
Against Stafford
because he's going to do what you and I always talk about. He's going to give you that opportunity once, twice, and like you said, Brett Jr., because you and I have compared him to that. The way he plays the game, he gives you that opportunity a few times during the game. That's why. Well, go ahead.
He has all those strange arm throwing motions and loves throwing it up in the double and triple coverage. So yeah.
Well, and part of me thinks, you have Calvin Johnson, so you can take that chance once in a while, but he seems to do it with everyone. He will throw that ball up a few times. And what I'm looking at here is an Eagles secondary that is not going to drop those, that are going to capitalize on those opportunities. I mean, to be tied for 6th in the NFL in takeaways, that's why you can bend, but you don't break. And, we know
all too well the Eagles are going to catch those.
Yeah, we witnessed that firsthand against the Packers. So I think that is a big key right there in the game. Stafford giving the Eagles some opportunities defensively to get those turnovers. And I think that's going to lead into this game in the Eagles' favor. The last thing I want to mention is, and I don't know the full report as of 5:40 Eastern time, but when I was looking at the injury report, 2 key players are questionable. Calvin Johnson still battling that knee injury, and Reggie Bush is now questionable. He has a calf injury. And if Reggie Bush is not...
He was getting iced up after the Packer game. I don't know if you noticed on the sidelines, Reggie Bush had a big old thing of ice pack on his knee, on the back of his knee after that Packer game when they took him out for the game after the game was on the hands. Yeah,
they actually joked about it when they interviewed him after the game about the ice. But the report I got today is he's questionable right now with that calf injury. If he's not 100%, that limits the Lions offense. Because the guy gets all-purpose yards. He's a receiver out of the backfield. He runs the ball. Without Reggie Bush in there, that is a huge advantage for the Eagles if he can't go at 100%. But even with Bush in there, I really feel this game, Evan, is going to come down to the stat I just told you. Foles, 19 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, protecting the ball. Stafford, 10 interceptions the last 5 games, giving the Eagles secondary, which is tied for 6th in the NFL, opportunities to create turnovers. So I'm going to agree with you once again. Eagles are going to win this game. I know the Cowboy fans probably don't want to hear us say that, but where we're going with this, you just look at that play that we're talking about. It looks like the Eagles win this one on Sunday. Again, let's move
I
up.
think Kelvin Johnson, if I recall right, that interception that Sam Shields had in the end zone, I think that's the play that Johnson re-aggravated that knee.
It
If I'm
is.
not mistaken, because he did get looked at by the trainers after that play.
Yeah, he did come in. He did come back in after that, but I don't think he was targeted more than 1 or 2 times after that. I mean, they didn't have to.
No.
They were killing us in every which way but up. But he did aggravate it on that interception in the end zone. You're absolutely right. He went to the training table, grimaced a little bit, then he smiled like he always does, and he went back out there. But those are 2 key players. I think Johnson will play, but even if Bush plays at 75%, Evan, his game is that quick move and burst. And if that calf is hurting him, he's not going to be able to plant and cut as well as he normally would, and those cuts aren't going to be as decisive. So there could be some issues there.
You just said something that stands out, too, when during the pre-chat, you said you were looking outside of a soon-to-be very icy area.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's going to be a winter wonderland here in PA.
Yeah, Philadelphia, that field might be pretty slick on Sunday, and if that calf's acting up, that's going to be even harder for him to make his cuts.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what's happening there, bud. Let's move on to the NFC real quick. I know, and especially on my timeline, I have a lot of Indianapolis Colts fans. I lived there for nearly a year. They're playing the Bengals in a big showdown in the AFC. The Colts, with a win, can clinch the AFC South. Now, they can also win with a Tennessee loss. But they have been struggling as of late. And so this is a big game for them to be able to go out and show that they deserve to win that division instead of just kind of backing into it. Plus, it has big implications for that 3rd seed in the AFC against the Bengals, who are also 8-4, and they're looking to put a hold on their division. The nice thing is the Bengals are 5-0 at home, Evan. But I'm going to let you take it away with your game recap on this one.
I'm not going to spend too much time on this one. This is, I don't know, for some reason this matchup doesn't, it's one that, you and I picked for the preview for this week. But the game, I basically picked it out because it's division implications for both teams. But Colts, 20th ranked offense, 22nd ranked defense, been struggling tremendously since Reggie Wayne left. Andrew Luck has not looked the same since Reggie Wayne got hurt. And the Bengals, 12th ranked offense, 6th ranked defense. Looking at this, I think Andy Dalton gets the better of Andrew Luck Sunday. Behind the likes with A.J. Green, I think A.J. Green's going to torch the secondary of the Colts. And I think the Bengals defense, which I said is 6th ranked in the league, is going to make it a very long day for Andrew Luck, as his offensive line isn't the greatest. So I think Cincinnati will win it, and the Colts might have to wait another week, depending on what Tennessee does, before they can put on those division champion hats.
Man, I love chatting with you. I love co-hosting with you, Evan. And for the listeners to know, Evan and I do our own separate research. When we pre-chat, we throw some things out that we've learned, but we research separately. We don't get on the phone and research together. And so, Evan, when I look at this, I've got Colts offensive line problems. McGlynn has been out with a bad thumb. I've got Dalton to A.J. Green as my key to success in this game. It is just unbelievable that when we do this, we pretty much line up almost all the time. But I agree with you, and I'm going to throw one more stat in there, and it is the Bengals defense. The numbers, the rankings, 6th overall. But I always look at the sack ranking, and I want to see how much pressure are they getting on the quarterback. And that Bengals defense is 9th in the NFL in sacks, and an offensive line that is having huge problems is going to be too much for Indianapolis. And I know my Indianapolis fans are probably booing me right now, but they're going to Cincinnati. Again, it's going to be outside, and it's going to be in that, Midwestern, Northeast weather. It's going to be cold, snowy, crappy conditions. And with that offensive line, I just think the Bengals are going to get pressure on Luck, and I think then you're going to see Dalton to A.J. Green. And that's how I'm going with that one,
The
too.
Bengals have a stronger running game, too.
Yeah, the running game. I mean, the running game I look at, they're doing kind of a little bit of platooning, and whoever's doing better, they're putting Ellis, Ben Jarvis Ellis, the law firm guy, and I like Bernard though. I actually have him in my fantasy team, and I play him once in a while. But that combo is good. It's very efficient. They've got their rushing offense is middle of the league. It's 18th. So it is very commendable that what they're doing there. And you've got a rush defense of the Colts that's 29th. And that's why the play action, we talk about it every time, Evan. Dalton play action hits A.J. Green for a Colts defense that has been struggling. I mean, they've fallen all the way to 22nd in the NFL. So I just see the Colts going down this week when they travel to Cincinnati. But with that said, Bud, let's move it back into the NFC. And let's look at two of the prime games. I mean, the first one is just very huge. It is the Seahawks versus the 49ers. It's at San Francisco. Seattle has struggled at San Francisco, and I believe they've lost 4 in a row in San Francisco. But they're playing really well right now. I would have to say that I think they're the hottest and best team in the NFL right now, based on the way that they've went through teams. But they have some holes. And so I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about the 49ers and the Seahawks.
Well, by looking at the records, I'm guessing this is the case. But if Seattle ends up winning, they clinch the division.
And they
looking at the Seahawks 11-1, the 49ers are 8-4.
And they get a first-round bye, Bud.
Twice.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. They get a first-round bye if they win this game.
Oh, so they got a lot of riding on them.
Yeah, they got a lot. They got a lot going on this game.
Did they clinch that division? They get the first-round bye.
Yep.
Well, looking at this game, and the thing that stands out to me, you have the number 1 ranked defense in the NFL in Seattle, number 5th ranked defense in the NFL with the 49ers. Offensively, both teams aren't doing the best right now in regards to throwing the football. Seattle's 22nd, 49ers are 31st. Running the ball, Seattle's 3rd, San Francisco 7th. And just by looking at the combination, I think that's going to be what the X factor is the running game. Seattle's got Lynch in the backfield. 49ers got Frank Gore. But for some reason, the 49ers have a tendency to forget that they have Frank Gore, and they start having Kaepernick throw it around a little bit. But the 49ers do get Michael Crabtree back, which will be huge for the 49ers. They can go vertical now with him. But I think Seattle ends up winning in San Francisco going on the road because of what you said. They are one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. They are playing really good football. They are focused. They are driven. And, hey, they got Russell Wilson. So I think Seattle wins that game.
Yeah, you got to love a team that has a former Badger on it, right? You got to love Wilson.
Yeah.
Too
bad they got Pete Carroll as their coach, though.
Yeah, I'm not going there. I'm going to give props to Russell Wilson. He's our Wisconsin boy. So he helped Wisconsin have a good season. So glad he's doing successful. But when I look at this game, Evan, the thing that's going to stand out to me here is when I looked at this injury report, the 49ers offensive line, Staley, and I don't know how to say his last name. I think it's Iupata. They're most likely going to miss the game. And that's going to hurt that running game with Frank Gore. Like you said, sometimes they tend to get away from it. But with both of those offensive linemen out, I'm not sure what they're going to be able to do. I mean, Kaepernick may have to win this one if he's going to win with his legs. They might be able to establish a little bit of a running game. I know if you look at the Seahawks, the one weakness they have is that run defense is ranked 13th. Teams have had success running up the middle against them. But I don't think the 49ers have enough this week because the Seahawks have a lot to play for. They're playing so in sync right now. I mean, I watched that game on Monday night, and it just looked like they're very tough to beat right now. It's going to take a perfect performance, I think, as they're playing now. And we know the way the NFL is, it can change week to week. So just based on history, though, I've got to say, I think Seattle has a lot of confidence. I think they're just gelled together. They're playing good football. And with the 49ers' offensive line problems, I mean, that's double disaster. It's going to be tough for Frank Gore to get established, and it's also going to be tough on Kaepernick to go vertical to Crabtree, like you said. I know he's coming back, and I'm sure he's excited about that. Just not sure how much they're going to be able to get it to him if Kaepernick is running for his life. But I see Seattle going to San Francisco, ending their losing streak in San Francisco, and being able to go out and actually get the win and clinch their division. But I think it's going to come down to, on the offensive side for Seattle, I think they've got some opportunities to be able to run the ball with Lynch and be able to control the clock and put some points on the board. So I'm giving the edge to the Seahawks also, and this is really bad now, Evan. We've agreed on all 4 games so far. So
yeah, this is quite shocking. We only have one more to possibly disagree on.
Yeah, just one more. I mean, that's crazy. We got to disagree on something today, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, let's go into it. I mean, this is another anticipated game. Should be another good one. You've got the Panthers going to the Saints. The Saints just play awesome at home. They're 6-0 at home. A stat I found today, Evan, I'm going to throw it out. The Saints have not lost back-to-back games under Peyton since 2009. So they usually rebound well after a win under Peyton. They are going back home where they're 6-0. I mean, that could bode well for them. But the Panthers are also a hot team. They've got an 8-game winning streak. They're ready to, they're playing with confidence too. So this is going to be a really good game in New Orleans. So I'm going to let you take over and give your game recap on this one.
Well, this game, see who takes control of the NFC South. Both teams 9-3. Looking at the matchup, the Panthers run the ball pretty well. They're 9th in rushing, but they don't pass the ball the greatest. They're 27th in passing. The Saints, their offense, they're 3rd passing, 23rd rushing. And then defensively, the Panthers, 2nd-ranked defense in the NFL, behind the Seahawks. The Saints had the 8th-ranked defense in the NFL. But the thing that stands out to me, and we've all seen it in the past, is the Saints can have issues stopping the run. They didn't stop Ivory well against the Jets, and they didn't stop the Seahawks the greatest either as well. So looking at this game, looking at the combination, it's going to be a great matchup. Drew Brees versus Cam Newton. This game comes down to Cam Newton. Depending on what Cam Newton shows up, if it's the Cam Newton that showed up in New England, then I see the Panthers winning. If it's a Cam Newton that showed up against Miami, even though the Panthers won that game, it's going to be difficult because Cam Newton didn't have the greatest game in that one. But looking at the matchup, I think Cam Newton comes into the Superdome, and I think Cam Newton puts himself on the map in the MVP conversation. I think that stat by Sean Payton, as good as it is, I think it ends on Sunday night. I think the Panthers win it.
We finally are going to disagree today. Finally.
Yay!
Finally. This is the game we're going to disagree on. And I'm going to bring it down again, and it's the old cliche. The team that wins the turnover battle is going to win the game. I mean, we hear it all the time. We got to win the turnover battle. We got to win the turnover battle. I think the Saints win the turnover battle. I think this passing offense is going to be too much for the Panthers this week. Their turnover margin, I believe it's the last 5 games. I didn't write down the number of games. Is plus 10. And when I was reading the notes, those little mistakes in a game of this magnitude, Drew Brees is the quarterback that is able to capitalize on those type of mistakes. And I understand exactly where you're going. What Cam Newton is going to show up? Is it the one, like you said, that is going to be out there, be a little bit inconsistent, or is it going to be the quarterback that we know can play at an MVP level? He's shown both sides this year. And so if I have any beef with Cam Newton this year about how he has to progress into the 2014 season next year, consistency. because some weeks he looks great, other weeks he looks average, and I think either way this week, though, I think that those mistakes, the Saints will capitalize on those mistakes when it gets down to the end of the game. So that's why I'm going with the Saints. Plus, I do give the Saints the home field advantage. They are tough when they're at home. And I just think the magnitude of this game, I don't think Cam Newton, I mean, I'm not saying that he's going to buckle under pressure, but this is a huge game. And I'm not sure when I look at it, you know, like you're saying, to get into the MVP conversation, I don't think that he propels himself this week. I think he's going to play good, but I think the Saints are going to do enough to create turnovers. The one stat I really liked is the Saints are 5th in the league in forcing fumbles. And I think they're going to go out and they're going to play really tough. They're going to play very physical. And I think you're going to see a couple turnovers again from the Panthers. And I think the Saints are going to take down the Panthers and take control of the AFC or the NFC South. So with that said, but I'm just going to recap where we went. We've got just under 2 minutes to go. We previewed the Cowboys-Bears. We both agree the Cowboys are going to win there.
90 seconds.
We previewed the Lions and the Eagles. We believe the Eagles are going to win that game. We also previewed the Colts-Bengals. We once again agreed the Bengals are going to take care of the Colts. We also then previewed Seahawks 49ers. And in that game, 49ers losing to the Seahawks. And then finally, Panthers Saints, the game we disagree on. I'm taking the Saints, you're taking the Panthers. We shall see when we get back together on Monday. But with that said, Bud, we have 1 minute left. I'm going to let you wrap up for the fans. And we'll see everybody on Monday. Thanks for listening in.
Yep, well, thanks for listening in. Unfortunately, there's really no big upset special this week because nothing really stands out to me. The one game to keep an eye on would be the Rams and the Cardinals. But thank you to all the fans. Thank you to Cass and your daily CowboyFootballFix.com. We really enjoyed doing this and hope everyone has a great weekend.
And with that said, everyone, we'll see you at the next red light. Be safe. Enjoy the weekend. Those in Pennsylvania where it's snowing like a winter wonderland, just please be safe when you're on the road. We'll talk to you soon.